Okay, guys, so I was gonna write a script, but I'm too lazy. Um, so yeah, men and women can totally be friends. Like, it's not that difficult, and I think it's just like heteronormative or societal norm and like a lot of cultures where it's like, oh, if a man and a woman hang out together, they must like each other romantically, and that's just not the case. I feel like we should just view each other as humans. I think that the queer community is a lot more understanding of this concept that men and women can be friends. A straight man and a straight woman can be friends, for example. Or, you know, you can be friends with the opposite gender or the gender, whatever gender you're attracted to, without liking that person. So, I think it's like completely possible. And I have a lot of friends who are girls, and I have never once, had any other thought for them as this. They're just my friend. And I know what you're saying, Ellis. Didn't you crash out over that girl that was basically your best friend? Yes, I did. I did. I did do that, but that was a one-time thing. That's just one out of how many other girls I've been friends with my entire life. And, having been a girl at one point, and having been both uh, a man and a woman in my lifetime, you know, I was friends with guys growing up my entire life, and I never thought about gender, because you're just kids. You're like, whatever. And when I started getting older, I still hung out with just guys because it's just who I got along with. I'm not a pick me girl, by the way. And I let it get to me because my best friend, he is a guy. He was a guy in 8th grade. And everyone was like, oh yeah, that's your boyfriend. Oh yeah, yeah, you guys probably like each other or whatever. Blah, 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 blah. Typical like fucking middle schooler clowning on fucking whatever. I let it get to me, and I started like, you know, maybe distancing myself from him a bit more, trying to, because I just didn't want to, for everyone to see it as, what it was not. And I regret doing that, because it probably came off as mean. The last thing I want to do is be mean to my friend. So, I think I wish I didn't do that. I wish I was just like, fuck you guys. This is my friend. I don't care what gender they are or what you think we are. Okay? This is my best bud, and I trade Pokemon cards with him, and, we just, we're two peas in a pod. Okay? Y'all can go fuck yourselves. I wish I'd done that. But yeah, I like to think of it as like people can always be friends with each other, regardless of whatever gender they're attracted to or whatever gender that they are or are not. I think that anybody can be friends with each other. And, for example, if your girlfriend has a straight guy friend and you're worried uh, about, whatever. So my friend, her ex-boyfriend, didn't like me, and he didn't want her to hang out with me because he was like, I don't like that you're hanging out with a guy, yada yada yada. Man, to me, honestly, that just screams like I'm insecure. You know what I'm saying, dude? Like, pipe down, bro. I'd, that's just my friend. We're just friends. Like, you're tweaking. You're tweaking. And I understand, oh, I don't want someone to steal my girl, jealousy, whatever, okay? I understand it to an extent, but also at the same time, if anything happens between the two of them, like, just have an honest conversation with her, with them, whoever. Have an honest conversation with your partner and be like, yo, what's going on here, Because technically, if you think about, oh yeah, if my girlfriend only has friends who are girls, then I'm gonna have no problem. Okay, but what if one of her friends is a lesbian, and also at the same time is hitting on your girlfriend? You think, you never fucking thought about that, did you? See, anybody can like anybody, and anybody can also be friends with anybody. So I don't. You might call me like naive or inexperienced, but I feel like that's just really insecure. Like, if my girlfriend was like had a straight guy friend, and then like something happened between them, and like he liked her or whatever, I would just talk to her about it and be like, you cheating on me, or did he just randomly tell you this? Because if he just randomly told you, then it's not her fault, right? You know, that's just what happened. That's just a situation. So yeah, I mean, I think anybody can be friends with anybody, and we shouldn't limit ourselves to one gender. Um, or yeah, we shouldn't be limiting who we can be friends with. I think that it's really good to connect with people who are different from us, and to meet as many people, and befriend as many people as you can in your lifetime, because there's so many people on this planet. you know don't you want to, like, I don't know, just meet different souls? Like, wouldn't isn't that good, and isn't that fun? Why would you limit yourself to, like, oh, my boyfriend says that I can only hang out with girls. Red flag. But, like, yeah, don't limit yourself. You can be friends. You can be friends with anyone, man. The age thing is, yeah, I would say if you're an adult over the age of 18 to not befriend a minor, I think that is the only instance where I would be kind of, concerned. But if everything's legal, if everything's legal and not creepy at all, I don't see what's the problem, just making more acquaintances and getting to know more people. I think it's a great thing to do. So, yeah.